celebration. A very special and historic event for our entire community. Today represents a wonderful opportunity to honor our ancestral history, culture, art, and heritage that transcends generations and continents. I represent 3 generations of Indians that all live, work, and learn in Concord. My Amma is with me today, along with my husband and children. Like many immigrant families, our parents left their homeland of India. My parents immigrated from Kerala, India, first to Ethiopia, and then later to the United States, making America their new home. They strive to instill in us a sense of deep connection and pride in our Indian heritage and culture. It is that same desire as a parent that we seek to share with our children and generations to come. I lead a nonprofit organization based in Concord called Ivy Child International, which focuses on advancing well-being and equity throughout our community. Through Ivy Child, I've had the opportunity to work with many immigrant communities from many countries and to see the incredible value that coming from welcoming and inclusive civic, educational, religious, and cultural organizations have. Here in Concord, we are so fortunate and delighted to partner with so many organizations, helping make today possible. I wish to especially thank the remarkable dedication of First Parish Concord, where we all are. The League of Women Voters, if you see Stefan in the back, he's happy to ensure that we are all registered to vote. Griffin from Minuteman TV, who's here. Let's give a round of applause to Griffin. Luke McCrory from the Concord Bridge. Luke. The Concord Library, who will have displays at both locations, Fowler and Maine, and art labs devoted in honor of India Day, showcasing artwork throughout the library as well. The Umbrella Art Center will have also an art display showcasing Indian elephant art by children in celebration of India Day. So we encourage you to also check out all of our community partners and everything they're doing in celebration, in addition to being here today at First Parish. We are so grateful for all of the fruitful collaboration that makes today possible, especially to our partners at the Indian Association of Greater Boston. As we know, the first Indian family moved to Concord in 1976, the Chowdhury family, who are with us today. Then followed by the Jalan family. In 1979, Radha Auntie is also with us here today. And from there, our community has only continued to grow. We begin today's celebration with the blessings of our elders. Lakshmi Auntie, who developed this lovely kolam for us with so much love and care. Thank you, Lakshmi. And Radha Jalan Auntie, who made us some very special chai that she's known for. We have Auntie's special chai here for later, or whatever you would like. And the amazing team that helped put today together. Rupa Felix, Shuji Sharma, Madhu. There's a whole list and crew of us, but everyone, all of their families, spouses, children who have been together literally every single night this week in preparation, with so much, offering so much love, care, and attention to really putting this together today. So thank you, and a deep, heartfelt bow of gratitude to you all. And thank you to our beloved community for coming here today to make this possible. So with the blessings from our dear divine, with the blessings of our elders and our beloved community, it is my honor to introduce to you our wonderful MCs for today's celebration. 2 of Concord Carlisle High School's rising seniors, Tiana Felix and Tanvi Malav.
Hi, my name is Tiana.
Hi, I'm Tanvi.
And we're rising seniors at Concord Carlisle High School.
Today marks a historic moment for our community as our hometown celebrates our history and our ancestors, acknowledging our Indian community who celebrated Concord's first ever India Day.
Indian independence is a moment of reclaiming our identity, culture, and heritage. Independence allowed India to begin a path of self-determination, democracy, and development. It provided the opportunity to build a nation based on the principles of equality, justice, and freedom for all its citizens.
While we celebrate our past, India Day is also an opportunity to look forward toward the future. It is a reminder of the ongoing journey towards progress and development. India Day is a celebration of our rich and diverse cultural heritage. We now thank you today for joining us in this celebration. We now invite the Indian Association of Greater Boston Representatives, Mr. Vijayendra Bhargava and Ms. Prerna Mathur, to give a few words.
A warm good afternoon to all the people present here. Thank you so much for being part of this celebration and celebrating the Indianness in us with everyone. I am Prerna Mathur and I'm Executive Director at Indian Association of Greater Boston. Delighted to welcome you all here. Our President Tanu Phoenix, who wished to be here, but unfortunately because of pre-committed other flag hoisting events, she's unable to be part of here. But she definitely sends a cheerful shout out to all of you who have gathered here. Just a little history on the flag raising events. 4 years ago, in year 2020, IGB became the trailblazer for conducting Indian flag raising events in the month of August in over 57 towns and cities in Massachusetts, Nashua, New Hampshire, Hartford, Connecticut, thanks to the support of all the cities and towns alike. In year 2022, swinging into the growing success of these decentralized events, we pivoted to something different by centralizing those smaller events conducted in 30+ towns into slightly larger events at a few selected anchor towns, as we call them, by strategically choosing locations that evenly cover the entire state of Massachusetts. This year, on August 15th, 2024, as India commemorates its 78th Independence Day, a momentous occasion that marks the end of freedom from about 200 years of British colonial rule, IEGB continues to centralize the flag-raising events to gather more people. We are ecstatic that we have 15 anchor towns and cities, including Concord, to celebrate diversity, togetherness, and to respect each other's native roots as we commemorate freedom and independence. We are grateful for being able to call United States of America our home, where democracy and personal freedom are held at utmost priority. So we need the community to feel proud to hoist the Indian flag by joining us at one or more of these events and to their historic celebrations. I would like to also introduce Vicky as he's called, is Vijayendra Bhargava, to address everyone.
Vijayendra is fine here. Everybody point it around. Thanks, everyone. So this year we wanted to actually do something different, right? We've been doing this for the last 4 years, but instead of just having some speeches, including this one, we have some patriotic songs for you. We have some dance performances. I met the dance group behind today. I think they're looking forward to this. I can't wait to judge them. They asked me to judge them. I don't know why they do that. But we're going to have these events over here, and just like it happens in India, we're going to celebrate this in a beautiful manner, colorful vibes over here, and I'm really looking forward to it. Secondly, we are so glad that this town of Concord welcomed us. I got a great welcome when we walked in. I was so relieved. It's also indoors. On a day like this, I'm very, very grateful for this. Yes. And just bravo to all the Indian Americans of Concord. We did meet Ms. Radha Jaya over here. I'm looking forward to the team. Thank you so much. And of course, last but not least, Shruti, thank you so much for everything. I think I connected with her like two, 3.5 weeks ago, and she just made, she welcomed us over here. We collaborated really well, so thank you so much. She's a personal favorite for IGB now. Thank you, and welcome to today's event, everyone. I think it's time for Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Now please stand for the American National Anthem.
Now please stand and join us for the Indian National Anthem, Jana Gana Mana.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Next from the Thilai Fine Arts Academy, Sharnya will be performing an Indian classical dance.
Namaskar, my name is Sharnya. We commence with a Pushpanjali, which is an offering of flowers to the mother Bharat Mata. The invocation, Vande Mataram, addressed to her is interspersed in the traditional Alaripu, stylized here to depict the theme. The very term Alaripu means blossoming, and it is basically a warm-up exercise in 3 speeds. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's Bengali lyrics in a slow mode are followed in a faster pace by Subramanya Bharati's translation in Tamil. Salutations to you, O Mother, with your verdant groves and crystal rivers. You are the intellect. You are the very breath in our bodies. You are the power in our arms, and you are the love in our hearts. Every god and every temple is none but you, O Mother India, Vande Mataram. This invocation to Desh, or the country, is aptly set to music in a ragam called Desh.
Nisa Thank you.
Thank you to Shranya for that lovely performance. Next we will have a performance by some very special kids who would like to introduce themselves.
Namaste, I'm Divya.
Namaste, I'm Michelle.
Namaste, I'm Aditi.
Namaste, I'm Alia.
Namaste, I'm Anaya.
Kashmir,
Thank you so much to our sweet little ones for that very sweet performance. It now gives me so much joy to introduce a very true friend to our community, a very special guest to us, without whom today would not have happened. We express our wholehearted gratitude for his sincerity, his care, his leadership, and his vision that has helped us bring together today's event. So I'd like to invite our very own, Concord's very own, State Representative Simon Cataldo. Thank you, Simon, for all that you've done to make this happen for our community.
Thank you, Rose. That was way too kind. It is true that this day is very important to me, so much so that I ended vacation and made a day early to come back. And the only reason I'm telling you that is that the deal was Jesse and our older two sons were going to stay, and I was going to bring our baby back, and he is back there with some conscripted volunteers. And so if I have to run off the stage at any moment, that is why. Please don't take it personally. Thank you, Peter. I didn't ask. You just got down there. I want to thank IAGB. IAGB is such an incredible organization, and as was mentioned a couple of times, they do flag raisings around the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Their president, Tanya Phoenix, is at one of those today. There are 14 in Massachusetts. I represent 4 communities in the legislature. 2 of them have flag raisings, and I'm so proud that now Concord is recognizing India's independence in this manner today. But I have to say that for the last few years, attending India Independence Day in Acton and then Carlisle, I was a little bit jealous for Concord. I'm from Concord, and even though I represent those communities, I don't like them to beat Concord in anything. So I'm very, very pleased to see this be such a success. So thank you. Also, could we just have one more round of applause for the 2 performances that we just had? Really, really good job. I know we have some more coming as well, and I'm standing between you and that. So I want to be quick, but I just want to tell you on a personal level, and then if you'll allow me to pontificate a little bit on a broader level about why it's so important that we're doing this today. On a personal level, last October, on October 7th, that was a really, really hard day. It continues to be a hard time for the entire Jewish community. And right after that, the ADL and a number of other community groups held something called a Walk Against Hate in Acton, which was actually not in response to October 7th. It was in response to a number of anti-Semitic incidents, swastikas on chalkboards and things like that had been happening the prior school year in the Acton-Boxborough School District. And so we went there, we had this huge community march. I gave the closing remarks, and I noticed as soon as I got up to give the closing remarks, how many Indian members of the community were right there in the front row. I joked to some members of my synagogue afterwards that there were more Indians than Jews at the ADL's Walk Against Hate. But it was, at the same time, not expected, but also not at all a surprise. Because anybody who knows, who's worked with members and leaders in the Indian American community knows that it is a community that understands that we're all in this together, that is welcoming, that champions diversity, and that is something to be treasured. It's part of the reason I wanted to be here today to again thank you for that. So thank you. I also I think it's worth asking the question, just posing it explicitly. Why do we do this? Why do we have leaders from the Concord community? Why do we have a bunch of people who aren't Indian Americans who are here today who worked to make this happen? Why do we have First Parish Church? And why do we do any of that? We're about to celebrate our 250th anniversary of the American Revolution in Concord, which of course makes this country the oldest democracy in the world. India, however, is the largest democracy in the world. And for the last approximately 78 years, during which we've had overlapping democracies, the United States and India have formed what one could feasibly argue, in my view, is the most consequential allyship in the world. In trade, in our pursuit of climate technology, in space exploration, and in being a democracy, in addition to regional and worldwide security. We are vital allies. In addition to that, when we think about the type of democracy that we are, the type of society that we are, the story didn't stop getting told after the Provincial Congress met at this church on October 11, 1774, and decided that they were going to be driven by the theory of natural rights. It didn't stop getting told when they decided that the crown, the government, wasn't going to be a government that gave you rights or took them away. We've been evolving for the last 250 years. And one of the key events, key incidents that happened was the nonviolent revolution in India being a success. And you don't have to hear that from me. You can hear that from the words of Martin Luther King Jr. and civil rights leaders in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s who explicitly attributed the principles of the civil rights movement to Mahatma Gandhi and to the nonviolent resistance in India. So for those reasons, it is 110% appropriate, not just that we would celebrate India's Independence Day in the United States, but that we would celebrate it right here in our beloved Concord. Finally, as was mentioned, voting is important. League of Women Voters has a little stand over there. You know, I know that our Indian American community contributes to every aspect of civic life. In Concord, in Acton, in Carlisle, in Chelmsford, all over this great Commonwealth. You're going to go to the polls this year, and for the first time, whether you vote Republican or Democrat, you're going to be voting to put an Indian American in the White House, either as the spouse of the vice president or as the president herself. And that is something to be celebrated. It is a landmark event in the rise of the influence of the Indian American community and people here in the United States. It's something to be celebrated. So I'm so happy to be with you. I thank you for making me a part of this event. And all I have to say is that I really want you to keep going, and I humbly ask that you keep going more. Not just doing more in our civic community, not just because we want Indian Americans to contribute more, but because we know that we need the best of the Indian American community in all aspects of our civic life. Thank you so much, and happy Independence Day.
Thank you, Representative Cataldo, for your leadership and care in our community. Now I invite Mr. Ravi Simon here on behalf of State Representative Carmen Gentile.
Hello. Happy India Day, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ravi Simon. I work for Representative Carmen Gentile. He is the state representative for precincts 3 and 4 in Concord. He has been for the last couple of years since redistricting. And let me just say, over the last couple of years, it's been a real joy for both of us to get to know Concord, to come to events here, to meet you folks, to get to know the issues that people in this town care about. And I know that you guys as Concordians hear this a lot, but it really is true that Concord is a special community. Just the level of civic engagement, of participation, of the number of events that we get invited to like this is really astounding. And so you should all be proud, I think, to be Concordians. And I know Representative Gentile is very proud to represent Concord in the State House with Representative Simon Cataldo. He couldn't make it today, unfortunately, but knowing that I was going to attend, he asked if I might say a few words on his behalf. To recognize India Day, but also to recognize the significance of Concord celebrating India Day for the first time. Because as Representative Cataldo, I think, did a great job explaining, there's so much to celebrate about India. Obviously a rich history, incredible culture, a diverse peoples. It is no small feat to be the world's largest democracy. But also there's so much to celebrate about our Indian American community here in the United States, in the Commonwealth, and in Concord. Now is probably a good time for me to mention I'm not Indian American. I'm Sri Lankan American. I'm Sri Lankan on my mother's side and Ashkenazi Jewish on my father's side. As Rep. Cataldo, I think, did a good job explaining, our South Asian and Jewish communities get along very well. It's something that we should be proud of and that I'm personally grateful for, being a product of that. But if I could just speak a little bit from the heart, I'm not Indian American, but as the son of an immigrant from South Asia, I do know a little bit what it's like to grow up in a country and in a corner of this country in which we talk a big game about immigration. We say that America is a country of immigrants, that America is an idea, not a people, that our society is a melting pot. But then growing up, I didn't always feel like that was the case, right? Sometimes our culture here can be tolerant, it can be accepting, but it doesn't go that extra mile to be celebratory, for our cultures to be visible and for there to be a kind of curiosity to learn more and explore and participate in that culture. And so events like this, I think, are really important because they show us that our South Asian community in Massachusetts, that we're here, that we're visible, and that we're growing. And I really think this is our moment. Multiple South Asian presidential candidates for this election. As Representative Cataldo said, on one ticket, we have the wife of the vice presidential candidate being Indian American. On the other ticket, very possible in January, we will have our first Indian American president, which would be really interesting. And I think in this moment of visibility, it is so important that we're holding events like this. I know growing up, in many ways, I ran away from my heritage as a Sri Lankan. I didn't bring Sri Lankan food to school. When my mother tried to teach me Sinhalese, I said, no, I'm fine with English. Because those things I felt at the time made me different. They made me not fit in. And it's a real shame. I regret that a lot. And I'm hopeful that with the events that we're having across the Commonwealth, like this one with the flag raisings, by being more visible, by being out, and by really celebrating our cultures, that we can make sure that everyone feels that they are welcome and that they belong here. And so I'm really grateful to First Parish for hosting this event, to the Select Board for recognizing India Day, to Representative Cataldo for coming as well, and of course to all of the organizers of this event and the flag raisings across the Commonwealth. I will leave you with this. I will say, Representative Cataldo couldn't be quite as explicit, but being South Asian, I will be. Our community is not civically engaged enough. We don't vote enough. We are not involved enough. And that is something that I think as a community we need to be better about. We need to be more involved and more engaged in local politics and state politics. And that is how we build community power and how we make sure that we have a voice in our government in the future. And so it really is incredible to be here, and it's really a wonderful honor to be able to speak on such an auspicious day. So on behalf of Representative Carmen Gentile, happy India Day, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Simon, for your ongoing support of our South Asian community. Next, we're delighted to welcome Public Defender Mara Dolan, candidate for Massachusetts Governor's Council.
Thank you so much. I'm Maura Dolan. I want to thank the Concord Indian American Group and India Association of Greater Boston and Rose Kratzley for inviting me to speak today. I want you all to know that both today and at last week's India Day celebration at Acton, you've absolutely shown that you are living up to your ideal of being welcoming and inclusive. I am a public defender, and inclusivity is important to me. Another way of looking at inclusivity is equality. The law requires that we have equal justice under the law. And I'm running for governor's counselor because if you care who our judges are, you need to care who your governor's counselor is. The governor's council confirms judges, parole board members, and commutations and pardons. I see a lot in our courts in my 17 years as a public defender that we're doing right, but a lot of things that we're doing terribly wrong. And we are not upholding equal justice under the law. We do not have disability justice. 15% of the population has a disability, but 40% of the prison population does. There's clearly a disconnect. We have worse racial disparities in Massachusetts than the national average. Why is that? It's because of decisions being made by judges in our courts. We need change, and that's why I'm running. So my personal opinion is we are going to have the first Indian American president of the United States, and we're going to elect her in November. And I'm thrilled. But there's another election coming up, the state primary. It's September 3rd. My name, Maura Dolan, will be on that ballot. And I do also just want to say, as a sixth generation Unitarian Universalist, I'm very proud that we're celebrating Concord's India Day at First Parish. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Ms. Dolan for everything that you do, especially for those who are historically marginalized. Now, the Indian Association of Greater Boston Executive Director Anagha Singh would like to share a few words.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. Thank you so much to Shruti and Concord community to giving us the opportunity to IIGB to be present and represent India Day. I love to see how much number of Concord community we have here and hope to have the double number of people next year, and we will work together with Concord community for next year. With that, IIGB has been a fierce advocate of collaboration, cooperation, inclusivity, so respect, camaraderie, and selfless service to the community at large. We truly believe that human values are virtues that guide us to take into account the human element when we interact with other humans. Human values such as respect, acceptance, empathy, and love towards other human beings. When we talk about Indian values, we expect that it comprises the basic human values, but it is unique. It bears the essence of our country that we came from, which is India, and is exhibited through its culture, heritage, and socio-political behavior of its people who embrace the USA as their beloved adopted country, and the country we all call home. India is a vast country with diverse cultures, history and landscapes, religion and cuisines. There are 121 languages spoken broadly with 19,000 dialects in India. So Indianness is very hard to define and difficult to express to outsiders. With that, I would like to remind the motto of Indian community has always been one nation, unity in diversity. Me, as IIGB's cultural director, I would like to remind few upcoming events that we have at IIGB. Along with the flag raising events that we have this week and next week, there's a big event at Boston City Hall on August 15. I would urge everyone to join us at Boston City Hall. It is from 11:45 a.m. onwards. With that, I would like also take an opportunity to invite you all for the IGB's Grand India Cultural Event, and we've called it as Nach to the Rhythms of the World. It is at the prestigious Hatchell Memorial at Boston near the Charles River. This is much anticipated signature event of IGB is from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, August 17th. We have lots of vendors coming in with lots of booths and the clothing booths and the henna booth and a lot of food. And with that, I would like to IGB has multiple Indian dance forms, which the Nach is the theme of this year's event. I would like to invite everybody to the event and urge to spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Singh. Now to join us in celebrating this historic day, we'd like to welcome the Town of Concord Select Board member, Terry Ackerman.
Namaste and good afternoon. I'm Terry Ackerman from the Concord Select Board, and it's my real privilege to be here today to present the proclamation in honor of India Day. I've had the opportunity to travel to India 3 times in my life, and it is really a fascinating and incredible country. The Indian spiritual tradition has been a huge influence in my life and in the lives of many Americans. I've also had the opportunity to meet many Indian immigrants and Indian Americans, and you guys represent the best of the American ideal. Hardworking, entrepreneurial, and strivers of excellence. So I have to put in a plug and agree with Representative Cataldo and Ravi Simon. We want more of you to join our town government in Concord. We need your talent and expertise. Please go on our website and check out, we have 62 committees. There's definitely one there for you. We'd love to have you. So without further ado, I'd like to present this proclamation for India Day. India is the largest free democracy in the world with an unparalleled rich cultural heritage. And whereas after generations of subjugation under British rule and a long campaign of non-violent protests led by Mahatma Gandhi, the 1947 Indian Independence Act ushered in a new age of freedom for the people of India. And whereas on August 15, 1947, India gained her independence from 200 years of colonial rule with peaceful civil disobedience and non-violence. That movement in turn became an inspiration to fight against inequality and injustice in the world, including the movement led by Martin Luther King Jr. in the USA. And whereas the Constituent Assembly of India created a most democratic constitution of its own, taking clues from the British, American, and French constitutions. And whereas in 1950, India became a republic and adopted a pluralist and democratic constitution that gave equal rights to all citizens, regardless of faith and other identity markers. And whereas India's constitution guaranteed there would be no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, color, or sex. And whereas India has shown an unsurpassed growth in education, health, agriculture, and technology since its independence 77 years ago. And whereas India's Independence Day is celebrated by over 1.4 billion people across the country, with flag hoisting ceremonies, kite flying, parades, and whereas 29 million Indians reside outside India, and overseas Indians comprise the world's largest overseas diaspora. And whereas with a population of more than 4.9 million of the US, Indian Americans make up approximately 1.35% of the US population, forming the second largest immigrant group in the US, who will also contribute greatly to the social, economic, and civil health of the nation. And whereas India is a nation extraordinarily unique as a cultural mosaic of people embracing a prodigious diversity of ethnic groups, religions, languages, customs, traditions, clothing, mannerisms, food habits, climatic conditions, and natural resources, and yet presenting an underlying unity. Whereas this year, India will proudly mark its 78th Independence Day on the 15th of August, honoring 77 years of her treasured freedom, a nation proud of her heritage. Now, therefore, we, the Select Board of Concord, do hereby proclaim the 15th day of August 2024 to be India Day, and encourage all residents of Concord to join the Select Board in honoring the special significance of India Day through community activities to joyfully celebrate India. Thank you.
Thank you to Ms. Ackerman and the town of Concord for acknowledging our Indian community and offering this proclamation in honor of India Day. We look forward to celebrating India Day annually moving forward. Next, we will have an Indian classical dance performance by Mahika from Tilai Fine Arts Academy. Hi everyone, my name is Mahika Sathner and I am a student of Sunanda Narayanan from the Tilai Fine Arts Academy. I have been learning since the age of 6 and I'm so blessed to be here today. I'll be performing a Varnam which is 40 minutes in length. And the Varnam consists of different syllables that you'll hear my teacher recite where I will do pure dance, and then there are the lyrics where I will emote and do expressions. The lyrics are based in the voice of a young maiden who is romantically and spiritually drawn to the Hindu god Lord Muruga, who holds a spear in his hand because he is mythically supposed to be the commander of the gods. The maiden is lost in love for him and asks her dear friend to go bring Muruga to her. And in the lyrics she talks about his kindness, his compassion, his valor, and how he overcame 2 evil demons and then restored peace to the world. I just want to thank the church for giving me the opportunity to perform this piece, so thank you.
Good. Would you like some water? Thank you.
Thank you, Mahika, for that lovely performance. Mahika's actually preparing for her audition, which is a solo debut recital. And for many of us who are in the dance family know that this takes remarkable sustained practice to be able to perform at this level. We send lots of love and gratitude and best wishes to you, Mahika. So the next performance is very different. And this is actually, I would say, a glimpse into the many groups within our Indian community, which is growing and vibrant here in Concord. But there's many aspects of our Indian community which makes us unique. There are active book clubs, hiking clubs, walking clubs within the Indian communities of Concord. But what I would say is probably one of the most joyful and active groups within the Indian Americans of Concord is a group that we lovingly call B2B. B2B stands for Bike to Biryani, representing their ongoing goal, recently accomplished for the first time just 1 week ago, to bike from Concord to Lowell, Massachusetts for biryani and back. This group holds a special place in my heart because they have welcomed my Indian by marriage husband into their group, as well as welcoming non-bikers like myself to meet them by car for biryani. It is with so much excitement that we introduce B2B's inspiring dance, Chakade India. Let's get ready to clap and dance along with B2B. Let's welcome Felix Francis, Christopher Kratsley, Subbu Venkatraman, Sandeep Pashurdi, Shuchi Sharma, Kapil Gupta, Dinesh Malav, and Priya Venkateshan.
Keep blocking it.
Wow, thanks for that memorable performance. Now, as our program comes to a close, we invite Arna Saukar, Samant Srivatsan, Viraj Prabhakar, and Vedant Srivatsan to perform Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malayana Shitalam, Sasya Shyabalam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Subra Jyotsna Pulakitayamini,
Thank you to everyone for those amazing performances. We would like to thank the First Parish of Concord for opening their home to us for this historic day. We would also like to give a special thanks to State Representative Simon Cataldo for wanting to bring this to our home in Concord. Thank you to Ivy Child International, as well as the Indian Association of Greater Boston for helping to make this event possible.
Another thank you to the communities organizing against racism, the League of Women Voters, the Umbrella Arts Center, the Concord Free Public Library, Minuteman TV, and the Concord Bridge. A huge thank you to the town of Concord for helping us make history today.
And lastly, a special shout out to our parents, uncles, and aunties who helped put in really hard work to make this day possible. We invite everyone to come on stage for a group photo, and after, please feel free to enjoy refreshments, and we hope to see you all again right back here on November 3rd for our Diwali celebration.